Welcome to Real Estate Investing Secrets. We're all looking for freedom and the opportunity to live better, more fulfilling lives. But most of us were trained our entire lives to work for someone else and chase their dreams. How can we use real estate investing as a vehicle to achieve financial freedom? My life is dedicated to answering your real estate investing questions and helping you build an investing business that allows you to change your life and the world around you, and to enable you to turn your dreams of financial freedom into a reality. My name is Mike Hambright from FlipNerd.com, and your questions get answered here on the Real Estate Investing Secrets Show. What's up, freedom fighters? Hey, welcome back for another episode. This is actually episode number 457. I'm pumped today to talk to my buddy Brandon Barnes. Brandon and I have become good friends over the past couple of years here. He's a great guy. One of the things that is missing a lot of times from the real estate investing industry is just people with a big heart that are givers. And if I had to like give a big heart award away to anybody, it would be Brandon Barnes. And so Brandon actually is a member of our Investor Fuel Mastermind, and we've gotten to know each other pretty well over the last year and a half. And I'm excited to have him on the show today. So Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Mike. How about yourself?
Good. One of the things we were talking about is people know when we record shows here after 450 episodes, it's common for me to get on with somebody and for us to start saying, well, what are some ideas of what we could talk about today? Because we could take it a lot of different directions. And one of the things that we have in common, truthfully, one of the things that brought us together was this belief of being around other people, other smart people. And truthfully, that's why we're in the same mastermind together. So just the idea, because so many people close themselves off and say, hey, I'm going to figure this out on my own, or I'm going to just try to watch YouTube or read some forums or something and figure it all out. There's a big piece that you're missing out on that I know we agree with. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is just the power of surrounding yourself with other people, and usually other people that you can learn from, right? There's this kind of this saying, like, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. And so anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. So sound good to you, Brandon?
Sounds great, and I appreciate you having me on, so look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, before we get started here, why don't you tell people a little bit of your background and how you like most people, you evolved out of somewhere totally different than real estate investing, but found your way here. So give us a little bit of your story.
Yeah, so I've been investing July 4th, 2016. So it's a date that I'll remember forever. It's when I left my W-2 job. I live here in Charleston, South Carolina. I have two beautiful little kids, married. I spent 17 years in food and beverage. My parents owned their own restaurant for 13 of those 17 years, and then kind of dabbled in Charleston with some different stuff. Met my business partner and mentor, Matthew Bell, and haven't looked back since. It's been an interesting and fun ride, and never thought that this was going to be my life, but it's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
And tell a little more your backstory in the real estate space, because you started with, really high volume, the type of, a lot of real estate investors talk about their volume, how many deals you're doing. You guys quickly started doing a ton of volume, and then you've adjusted your model to sometimes, units is not everything, right? And so talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we started, most people, when they start their investing company, it's just them and their mindset and their vision, and they build it to what they want. We actually were built off of the back of a hedge fund. And so we started as their off-market company, basically. And they said, here's our box. I'll buy everything in that box, and you guys go find them for me. And I think our first year, we did 40 or 50 deals from July to December. And then the year after that, we did over 200. And then it was a whirlwind. I learned a ton in a compressed amount of time. But the biggest thing I learned is it's not about the volume. It's about what you're actually bringing home at the end of the day. And so, yeah, since then, it's actually been since Investor Fuel a year ago in March or February that we kind of parted ways with them, and we have been on our own path now.
Yeah. Awesome. That's one thing I want people that are listening to know, is that, sometimes there are people that are, and not to say anything bad about Brandon at all. That was their way in. But sometimes when you hear people talking about how much deal volume they do, It's like, you never know what's behind it. There's always, in the whole real estate investing industry, there's always an asterisk next to a lot of people's performance. And for us, at the end of the day, a lot of us get into this for freedom reasons. We want to make money to live a better life and live a more fulfilling life, be able to give back and things like that. And so don't get hung up on volume, build a business that fits into your life. Right. So, and a lot of times volume comes with some unintended consequences, right? Just drama and right. It's like a monster you got to keep feeding.
It was twofold. It was one, probably the biggest thing that I've learned since being in this is we weren't creating our vision. We were creating somebody else's vision. So all we did was create a job. We didn't create a company, because if at any point this one trick pony that we were working with decided to stop buying houses, we didn't have anything else built. And so to that point, like, we didn't have any freedom. We didn't have any, I got out of food and bev to enjoy my family, and I found myself 2-3 o'clock at night or in the morning, doing deals, being all over it. And you couldn't stop, because if you did, they just shoved you to the side and found somebody else who could do it for them.
Right.
So
in terms of surrounding yourself with the right people and getting around people, one of the things that I know we talked about in a little bit is you've got to be kind of open-minded, right? A lot of us in the real estate industry tend to be scrappy, and we just work hard to the point to where sometimes you start to have the mindset of, I know I can figure it out, I know it all. But you got to be a little bit open-minded, right, to other ideas and other people, right?
You do. It's I've always been the person that I used to never ask for help, ask for resources. We'll just figure it out. I'll watch a video, read something, and we'll get it done. And a big game changer for us in our business is, leveraging our network. And, hey, if I have this issue, reach out to my friends and people in the groups that I'm in. And, hey, this is what's going on. Has anybody experienced it? And your learning curve is so much faster. Right. You can learn it the hard knocks way. You can go over the same speed bumps. But when you use your friends and the people that you're in it with every day, and if you're in the right groups, your learning curve is so much faster.
Yeah. Why would and I'm the same way. But in hindsight, there's so many things in my life. Like, why did I choose the hard path? Why didn't I just ask somebody for help? Why didn't I get a mentor early on? Why didn't I join a mastermind earlier on? Like, all these questions come back now, because you're like, we just had, we get asked all the time. I mean, I'm really part of being the leader of Investor Fuel is I'm an advisor to a lot of people. So people ask us for help all the time. And the truth is I don't know everything, but if I don't, I can connect them with somebody that does. And people are like, hey, I really need help with setting up a call center because we really want to start cold calling. I'm like, well, I haven't done that, but I know the perfect person for you to talk to. And, in the past, I would just go try to Google it or figure it out, right? And there's so many, the learning curve is so much shorter if you can rely on people that can just say, look, you're going to want to try this, but don't do it. These are the softwares we tried. No, yes, like use this one and here's why. And it's like you can climb the learning curve so much faster if you just rely on other people's learning curve. They can kind of ride on their coattails a little bit, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of how we built our business that we're in now, just personally. When Matt, my business partner, got into it, it took him this long to learn this. His goals to, not have me take that long. And then everybody we bring on board, it should speed up. Yeah. And likewise, in your own personal investing, I think one of the biggest issues is, us as investors, entrepreneurs, we think that we're the only person that's experienced this issue. And we don't think it's a big deal, or we don't think that anybody can help us because a lot of, the social media and everything that's portrayed is all the good stuff. Nobody sees the deals that have gone bad, the times that you were sued, or the times that, your whole team quit on. I mean, just, nobody's talking about all that stuff. And so we don't think to ask those questions because nobody's had this issue before. And that was a big changing point for me, is realizing that we all have the same problems. We're just living in different cities.
Yeah. When you get in a room with people that have a lot of experience, everybody's had more failures than successes, right? They just, like you said, it rarely gets talked about. And, that's one of the things that we do in Investor Fuel. and you had your baby like right before the last meeting, so you weren't there.
Yep.
But one of the people in the group, not to call anybody out, really, his main thing was like, I'm having problems at home right now. Like my spouse, I'm having some challenges based on where I want to go. And it was more of a personal issue. I won't get into any details there, but it was just like, it takes a lot for people like us to share those things. And the truth is, if you have a real estate mastermind, there's a lot of groups out there, but they tend to focus more on the business side of it. And so we celebrate the life side of it. Like we're in business to have a better life, right? So we focus a lot on building better lives. And the truth is, entrepreneurs have sacrificed a lot from their personal life often to get to where they are. And so it's important to talk about those things, right?
It is. And that's, it's not easy to do, because nobody wants to go home and say that their marriage isn't where it should be, or their kids don't, spend the time, those aren't easy things to do. It's been for us. I mean, I know that, the 2.5 years hasn't been easy for my wife or either of our kids. My youngest one doesn't know the difference right now, but, our 3-year-old does pay attention to that stuff. And so there's, even when business is going well, there are other things that potentially need help. And so it is important for that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that I found, and I know you've seen some of this too, is that when you start to get around other people like you, or other entrepreneurs, just the opportunities that arise that you had no idea they would come up before. So just getting around hard charging, smart entrepreneurs and real estate investors, mostly for us, it's like there's opportunities to do deals together. There's lending opportunities. There's just a lot of things that pop up. I mean, I'm really good friends with Corey Peterson. We've become great friends over the past few years. In fact, our spouses and I we're about to go on a trip here, as you know, next month. Really cool trip. And I didn't know, I've known Corey for a few years now, but I just did 2 multifamily deals with him towards the end of last year. And that's not something that when I first met Corey, that I ever thought would happen. It just happened because our relationship evolved and turned into like, hey, I'd like to do that. Why wouldn't I do it with him? Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I've met, met one of my best, one of my closest friends in real estate through Investor Fuel. He's been a huge asset for us in our business, friend and business side. And if you don't put yourself in a room like that, and be willing to be vulnerable and open and show who you are and help, the ability to meet those kind of people and build those kind of relationships, because you do. I mean, we've got lenders out of our masterminds. We've done deals with people out of our masterminds, and we've done some different stuff, but, there's also, again, the personal side to it as well.
Yeah. You probably, I know you feel the same way, is like, there's a lot of us in this industry that have been kind of lone wolves for a part of our lives. And, the reality is, and I don't know if you feel this way. I've been in this business for 11 years. So I've definitely felt this way at times where like I have a lot of friends and acquaintances, but there's very few people that I really connect with, like they really get me. And the truth is usually they're in a room like at Investor Fuel or somewhere like that have been through the same things as me. So I have friends that I went to college with and grew up with and whatever, but we can't have the same type of conversation because they might still be, they still have a W-2 job. Like they don't get us. And I've just found that a lot of real estate investors are kind of lonely. It's a bit of a lonely business until you start to get around other people and open up.
That is such a perfect way of saying that. It's, I have a lot of friends from, I guess being in my W-2 life. I don't know. I'm in a different, space of life than I was 2.5 years ago. And it's been different because I can't go out and have the same conversations. I don't, have a lot of the same interests. We were at, so my wife, we do a beach house for her birthday every year. And we were at our house last year. And I was talking with the group of family and friends over there, nobody in real estate, nobody entrepreneur. And I told them, I was like, at 40 years old, I'm going to, in the sense of the world, be retired. My passive income will cross what my bills are. And they just looked at me like I was just an idiot. Like there's no way that, they just kind of blew me off and started talking about their own thing. And it gets, because you have these goals and aspirations to do things, and it gets lonely. You don't have people to talk to about it unless you get in these rooms.
Yeah.
It's, my friends, clock in 9 to 5, get their checks, go out on the weekends and start life all over again on Monday. With me, it's a different world.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is that way for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great it's great. I think that's where some great friendships are forged. It's like, even if you don't know the details, that we've all been through the struggle one way or another. And it's just this, we got some similar arrow marks in our back from being pioneers and trying stuff that most people weren't willing to even try to stomach to take that on.
No, absolutely. It's such a, you risk. I'm reading, so I'm actually reading this next to me right now, the book that you gave us at our Investor Fuel, and it just talks about the risk and the sacrifice that visionaries and do to do this stuff. It takes a special person, and it's different. And so it's hard to connect with, just like an everyday person.
Yeah. An everyday person.
I don't know.
It is funny. I feel myself too. I'm like, I don't know how to really say this, but like the people that don't get us, like, they don't, sometimes I found that I don't even know, like, it's hard for me to not talk about work.
I just love
my wife and I work together, and we'll go on a date night and we're like, hey, we're no work, talking about work tonight. Like that lasts like 3 minutes, or it's like deep in some conversation. We're like, wait, we weren't supposed to do this. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm ever talking about work, because I truly just love it. I mean, right for this podcast, I was having lunch with somebody, and that's, where it went. I don't know. Sports have gone off the radar, TV shows, like stuff that I paid attention to a long time ago. I still follow my Gamecocks, but other than that, man, I just love talking about what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the beauty is, you're talking about retiring early, right, at 40 years old, but the reality is, and, I want that for you if that's what you want, but sometimes you get to that point. It's like, well, if you truly get to a point where you love what you're doing, it's not this like, this thing you have to go do anymore. Not like a W-2 job, right?
Yeah. I just want my passive to cross my bills. Like I just,
right.
At that point you become, in essence, financially free, because if you were to not work another day in your life, you could at least sit at home with your kids and, eat dinner and
sure.
And then you can, then your ability to grow is, even bigger.
Yeah. So at Investor Fuel, as you know, one of the things that we focus a lot on is giving. And I think that's a little counterintuitive to people that are going to join a group where they might think, like, we kind of tell people, like, don't bring your ego in here. Like, I don't care how much experience you have. And, we got people in the group that are doing 400 plus deals a year. And we're like, leave that outside. Like, you're a person in here, right? And so what's evolved in our group, and there's other opportunities for that, is this kind of give first mentality. So let's focus on giving and sharing and no strings attached. And kind of what would you agree with that kind of mentality? I know you do, because I just gave you the big heart award, right? But I know that that plays such a powerful role in what you get back if you have that mentality up front. Can you talk about that a bit?
I can, yeah. So I've kind of given this advice out a little bit in the last. So we just left the Sharper Leadership Circle, and there were some people there that were at their first event, and I kind of gave them my feedback on how to get through these things and process it and really get the most out of it. And it was a big shift for me. I always heard, go to these events and just give and give them your opinion and advice and all this stuff. But I was selfish in the sense that I needed so much. I've read The Go-Giver and I've done all that, but I needed to know what was the best list, what was the best mailer, blah, blah, blah. And so I was so focused on trying to find that, over the 2 or 3 days that I'm there, that I didn't give to the group. I didn't give them my opinions. I didn't, share my experiences. And I would feel like I would just come home on Saturday and Sunday after a long flight, a long 3 or 4 days. And I was like, I just don't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel like I got, I may have found the answer to a list or whatever I was looking for, but it just didn't feel right. And yeah, I was telling you before we started this, like, it's kind of that at the first Investor Fuel, somebody asked about a calendar thing and they're like, what do you use to schedule events for acquisition people? And somebody said Acuity. And I was like, well, I use Acuity. Wait, I'm finally doing something right. And then I realized, like, I do have things in my business that could potentially offer value to other people.
Yeah.
So I shifted my mindset when I come to Masterminds now, and it's not like when we come to Salt Lake next month, I have no intentions on what I need from there. There's lots of things that my business needs, and I know where it needs to go, but I'm going to go there with the mindset of I'm just going to help every single person who took the money to fly out there. They took the time to put their presentation together, and they have the vulnerability to stand up in front of a group of 100, 150 people and be honest. Like, to me, my time is better spent giving to them. And then outside of that, the bars, the restaurants, the breakfast, the club lounge at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, that's where you get that's where you get back all the efforts that you gave out. And that was a huge paradigm shift for me, was understanding, like, I don't go to these masterminds with who do I need to meet, what do I need to find out, what do I need to get out of it. It's, can I give the entire time that I'm there, and then whatever needs to happen out of it will happen out of it. And that was, and I love coming to them now. I've made a lot, like I said, made a lot of great friends. It's been so much fun the last 3 or 4 events.
Any tips for people, Brandon, that are whether they're able to join like a mastermind like Investor Fuel or kind of a high-end mastermind like that, or just want to start networking in their market or whatever? I mean, some of these same things apply, right? Like, have a give first mentality, be open and willing to share, and look for opportunities to kind of coexist and work together. Maybe it's doing deals together, or maybe it's just sharing resources or whatever. But any kind of tips for people that are looking to just kind of get started, even if it's at a micro level with networking?
So, I mean, I start with our RIA. I mean, I think, a lot of that can get played out, and it's a lot of beginning stuff and hard piece, but even going there and just helping people as much as you can, like, starts changing how it goes and gets you used to it. And then there's some, if you want to, put your toes into some of the, entry level mastermind stuff. I know there's, Investor Fuel Gold has the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning stuff to kind of get used to it. But I mean, I've noticed since going to Mastermind, like, I go to the RIA now. I used to think, man, there's RIA, it's just going to be a whole bunch of tire kickers, and it's not going to, but it's not about my value. I'm there to, 50 people took the time out of their day to come to our RIA tonight to learn about whatever. And so, just in this past RIA, every time I could provide value, I do. I've offered to get up and present in front of the group, because it really, like, when you start changing, going into every conversation that way, it kind of gets you started. But I mean, I'd start with your local RIA or meetup or whatever it is, and kind of just get used to doing that.
Yeah, I would say, along the same lines is if you give and you help people even at that level, because I was a sponsor of a RIA club for like 5 years, several years back. We actually are a sponsor in another club now, but even back then when I was kind of newer in the business, I just tried to add value, and things happened. Like, all of a sudden somebody is like, hey, I'm trying to get into real estate investing, but it turns out really I have money, but I don't really want to do all the hard work. Like, people that will be lenders, or somebody that's like, you've helped me several times with this, and I just found my first deal and I'm kind of scared of it now. Like, can we partner on it, or can I wholesale it to you? Or, like, things happen, right? It's just at every level there are opportunities. And I'm not saying you should necessarily do all these things with some ulterior motive that things will come back around, but we're just telling you that they do, right?
So we just did a deal. We closed on it in December, and it came out of basically me giving, and what that did is it provided the credibility that I needed for somebody to reach out to me. And basically, the guy in Arizona somehow got a wrong number or something on cold calling, and got a lead in my market. And it was a low income area. It's not where we do a whole lot of work, but he got it. He got his lead for like nothing, this deal. And so he found me through referrals and me helping other people. And it's like, hey, listen, I trust you. Here's all the info. He literally is like address, phone number. I could have taken the deal and never talked to him ever again. But he's like address, phone number, price. He's like, I've kind of seen where you've provided value and these people recommended me to you. And so we ended up getting it under contract and we each made like $6,000 a piece on the deal.
Yeah.
And it just came from, us being active and helping. And, I don't answer questions on wholesaling houses full time to get something out of it. I just try to see if I can help.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, a couple of things I want to talk about here is I know you just had a bad experience today. Was it today or yesterday?
Yes, yesterday.
Yesterday. And go ahead and tell us. I guess I don't even know this yet. So just tell us what happened. I know you lost money on a deal and had a bad experience. Yeah. You're still smiling. So that
It was, so I'm going to do a Facebook video. It's like how to lose $11,000 in 1 hour. So we had this deal, and basically the seller has been trying to sell this house for 3 years, I think. It's been shopped in front of us by 3 or 4 wholesalers, but nobody could ever get the price where it made sense. Finally, my company came in and we offered, our price to do it. And we got it under contract, got title started, actually had an Investor Fuel member fund it for us. A new guy, so it's been a brand new relationship with us. He wired in his funds. We were clear to close. I think closing was last Friday or this Friday. I don't remember at this point now. But the buyer and seller had the same first name. And my closing coordinator got them mixed up and got them on the same communication level. Basically, the seller called the buyer because we ended up we were gonna own it for like 2 weeks and then we were selling it on the back end.
Yeah.
And the seller called the buyer, and because the seller knew what the buyer was buying it from us from, and the buyer knew what we were buying it from the seller. And so they came up with their own price and are in the process of trying to close it. Now we're still trying to figure out how we can, still be a participant in this.
Yeah.
And we still might make something out of it, but we're going to make roughly about $11,000 on the deal. And it is, as of right now, we're making nothing.
Yeah, that sucks. I have had something like that happen one time because of my title company. They shared a document they shouldn't have, and yeah.
Well, this was us. We did it internally. It was I went through my closing coordinator last night.
Oh, your closing coordinator. I thought you were talking about somebody.
Yeah. Sorry, my team did it.
Yeah.
And so she was reading through it. She spit out the phone number, and I was like, "That's not the right phone number," because I've called the seller myself, and I was like, "She has like a 3-1 something area code," and so it was a tough lesson for everybody. You can't ever predict that your buyer and seller are going to have the same first name and, Gmail and just type it in the name. It happened. So I don't
Bummer,
know.
man. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully somehow it gets resurrected somehow. And
we think the positive side is they, I think, are still trying to use the same title company to close it. That's what we found out today.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how it all works out.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We were planning on having it funded. I think the B2C closing was like first week in February. So it was tough.
Yeah. Brandon, if folks wanted to learn more about you, I know you're doing some stuff on social media now. Where's a good place for them to go to connect with you or learn more?
Yeah, so I have my blog that is, it's going to be better, but I've written probably 7 or 8 posts.
It's competition.
One of my goals is to write a book, and so I've been working on writing, and so I write a blog. It's at brandonbarnesjourney.com. And so I have a personal assistant. She's helping me with it now. Hannah from Investor Fuel. She's been a big asset for me on my blog. I just haven't implemented any of the advice she's given me. And then I am on Facebook. I don't have a lot more friend spots left. I think I only have like 50 friend spots left to hit the 5,000 mark. And so I'm actually starting my own kind of personal, I guess, Facebook page or something, and it's just Brandon Barnes, I guess, business page or whatever it is. And so I'll have that. And then our company is Facebook /HBM Marketplace.
Okay. Try to make that down. Hey, everybody that's listening right now, we appreciate you joining us today. If you haven't already subscribed to the show, we've been doing this. We just had kind of our 5-year anniversary. We've been doing the show for a long time. And I can tell you it's a little bit of labor of love. Like, I get to spend time with guys like Brandon and people that are on the show that truthfully I get more value out of just networking and talking to people than anything I do. But the show is a big production. It takes a lot of resources, takes a lot of time to do. One of the things that gets me charged up more than anything is positive reviews and seeing our subscribers go up and know that people are getting value out of it. So if you haven't already, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio. We publish all of our shows on YouTube. And of course, all of our shows are on flipnerd.com. So you can watch everything there. If you'd go out and do that, we'd appreciate it. Show us a little bit of love. Brandon, thanks again for being with us today.
Mike, as always, man, I'm honored to be on it. I am glad to call you a friend and had a good time.
Absolutely. And excited to see you here shortly in Salt Lake City. So
yeah, man, pumped up.
Investor Fuel. Awesome. Everybody, we appreciate you. Until the next episode, stay strong, stay cool, and keep fighting for freedom. See you on the next show. Thanks for listening to today's show. There are 3 ways I can help you start or grow your real estate investing business. If you're a new investor and just getting started, the Flip Nerd Investor Coaching Program is the most effective program in America. I've been coaching and mentoring new real estate investors for 10 years, and my students have literally purchased thousands and thousands of properties. Many of them started with little to no experience at all. Our program is a paint-by-numbers program where we tell you exactly what to do week by week to make sure that you don't get distracted on your way to results. We show you how to build a real business, not just create another job for yourself. New memberships are limited. You can learn more and apply or schedule a call with me and my team at flipnerd.com/coaching. If you're an experienced investor doing a minimum of 10 deals a year, up to 500 deals a year or more, or have a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio already, you should check out our powerful Investor Fuel Real Estate Investor Mastermind. Over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors are members, and it's not uncommon for our members to 2 to 5x their business just from getting around other members at Investor Fuel. At Investor Fuel, each of us are business advisors to one another's businesses, but we don't stop at business. We focus heavily on becoming better people and living fuller lives. If you're looking for fuel for your business or fuel for your life, please check out investorfuel.com. Applications and interviews are required, as most investors are not a fit for our community. Please learn more at investorfuel.com. If you're not ready for coaching or masterminds but eager to start learning more about investing, please join our private Facebook group by visiting flipnerd.com/Facebook. New members get access to free training from us right here at flipnerd.com, and it's a community to safely ask your questions, a great place to get started. Simply go to flipnerd.com/Facebook to request your access today.